In 1968, a scientist built a paradise and waited to see what would happen. His name was John Calhoun, and the paradise was for mice. A metal enclosure, about 9 feet square, with everything a mouse could ever want. Unlimited food, unlimited water, endless nesting material, a perfect climate, no predators, no disease, no cold, no hunger, no danger of any kind. Every problem a mouse has ever had to solve, solved permanently, forever. He called it Universe 25. He started with 4 pairs. 8 mice, dropped into a world with nothing left to struggle against. What happened over the next few years was so disturbing that Calhoun spent the rest of his life trying to explain it. And the reason it still haunts people, more than 50 years later, has almost nothing to do with mice. It has to do with the question we are about to face for the first time in human history. What happens to a creature when it no longer needs to try? At first, paradise worked exactly as you'd expect. With every need met, and no threats anywhere, the mice did the one thing there was left to do. They bred. The population exploded, doubling roughly every 55 days. The early days of Universe 25 were a boomtown, thriving, crowded, alive. If you'd looked in during that first year, you'd have called it a success. Then slowly something started to go wrong. And it wasn't starvation, or illness, or overcrowding in the way you'd think. There was still plenty of food. Still plenty of space. Still no danger. On paper, the utopia was intact, but the society inside it began to rot. The population climbed toward its peak, around 2,000 mice, and then the strange behaviors set in. Males whose job had always been to win and defend territory found there was no territory left to win. Every role was already filled, every space already taken. Some of them turned violently aggressive, attacking others for no reason. Others simply gave up and withdrew completely. Females, left unprotected, became aggressive themselves, then began neglecting their young, abandoning them, sometimes attacking them. Mothers stopped mothering. In parts of the enclosure, infant death climbed past 90%. The young that did survive grew up in a broken world, never learning the ordinary social scripts: courtship, cooperation, territory, care. They had never seen them done right, so they never learned to do them at all. And then came the part everyone remembers. A group of young males withdrew from the chaos entirely. They stopped competing, stopped courting, stopped fighting, stopped mating, stopped engaging with the others in any way at all. Instead, they did only 3 things. They ate, they slept, and they groomed themselves. Endlessly, meticulously. Because they never fought and never mated, they had no scars, no stress, no torn fur. Their coats were flawless. Physically, they were the healthiest looking mice in the entire colony. Sleek, pristine, perfect. Calhoun called them the beautiful ones. They were also in every way that mattered hollow, beautiful and completely empty, present but not participating, alive but not living. By then the colony was finished, it just didn't know it yet. Breeding collapsed. The population aged and thinned. The last births came and went. And a paradise that had everything, that solved every problem a mouse could ever have, quietly emptied itself out until nothing was left. Universe 25 went extinct. Not from famine or plague or war, but from something we still don't have a clean word for. For years, the popular explanation was overcrowding. Too many bodies in too small a space. A warning about human cities, about overpopulation, about density. But that reading has a problem. The enclosure never actually filled up. It was built to hold nearly 4,000 mice, and the population collapsed at around half that. They weren't out of room, they weren't out of food, they were surrounded by abundance the entire time. So the more unsettling interpretation, the one that's harder to shake, is that it wasn't the crowding that broke them. It was the ease. Think about what a mouse's life is normally made of. Finding food, building shelter, competing for status, defending territory, attracting a mate, protecting young. It's hard, and a lot of it is unpleasant. But every one of those struggles is also a role, a purpose, a reason to get up and do the difficult thing. Calhoun's paradise didn't just remove the dangers, it removed the work. And in removing the work, it accidentally removed every role a mouse could fill, every problem a mouse existed to solve. The beautiful ones weren't lazy, there was simply nothing left for them to be. Every niche was taken, every struggle was over, every need was met before they could feel it. So they retreated into the only thing left, grooming a perfect coat in a world that had no use for them. Calhoun had a chilling phrase for what he was watching. He called it the death of the spirit, a first death that arrived long before the bodies. The mice stopped physically dying last. What died first was the capacity to strive, to bond, to matter to one another. And once that was gone, it didn't come back. He tried removing some of the beautiful ones, putting them in normal conditions with room to start again. They never did. The ability had simply never formed. Now, the honest caveat. Mice are not people. Calhoun's experiment has been picked apart for decades, and the leap from a rodent enclosure to human civilization is a big one that no serious person should make casually. We are not mice. We build meaning in ways they never could. But the reason Universe 25 refuses to fade, the reason it keeps resurfacing every few years, is that it isolated one variable we have never been able to test on ourselves. What happens to a social creature when every survival problem is solved for it? When there is nothing left that it needs to do? For all of human history, that question was purely hypothetical. We never had to answer it because there was always something to struggle against. Hunger, distance, disease, labor, scarcity of every kind. Purpose was never something we had to manufacture. It was handed to us by necessity, whether we wanted it or not. That is the thing that may be about to change. We are right now building our own version of a world with the struggle removed. We're just not calling it Universe 25. We're calling it progress. Artificial intelligence is, at its core, a machine for solving problems, and it is getting extraordinarily good at solving the ones that used to be ours. It writes, it codes, it diagnoses, it designs, it plans. Task by task, it is absorbing the work. And work, for most people, has never been only about money. It's where a huge amount of purpose quietly lives. The role you fill, the thing you're good at, the reason your effort matters to someone else, the problem only you were there to solve. What happens when the problems don't need us anymore? This isn't only about jobs, though that's the sharpest edge of it. It's about the deeper thing underneath. For our entire existence, meaning has been scaffolded by necessity. We mattered because we were needed. We were needed because things were hard. If a machine can do the hard things, all of them, better, and for everyone, then the scaffolding that held up human purpose for 100,000 years starts to come down. And we genuinely don't know what's on the other side of that. Maybe abundance frees us. Maybe, released from the grind of survival, humans pour themselves into art, connection, exploration, meaning we choose, rather than meaning forced on us. Maybe the struggle was never the point, and we finally get to find out who we are without it. Or maybe we find out something harder. That a great deal of what we call purpose was only ever necessity wearing a nobler mask. That when nothing needs doing, a lot of people don't rise. They retreat. That comfort without a role is its own kind of starvation. One that doesn't look like suffering from the outside. That you can be provided for, safe, and perfectly comfortable, and still quietly become one of the beautiful ones. Calhoun didn't think he was studying mice. He thought he was studying what happens to any social species when it finally gets everything it ever wanted it, and discovers that getting everything you want is not the same as having something to live for. We are about to run that experiment on ourselves. not in a metal enclosure, but across an entire civilization. We are building the world with every problem solved, and we have never once stopped to ask the question the mice couldn't answer for us. When the machine can do everything, what are we for? Nobody knows. That's not a comfort, and it's not a warning. It's just true. For the first time, the struggle that defined us is optional, and we get to find out what's left when it's gone. The paradise is almost built. The only question is what we become inside it.